Here she is. Talk to me, Taylor. Taylor Ferber back on TSFS. I was just on your show last week. How are you, girl?
So well. Long time no see, Sarah. TTMT meets TSFS. I don't even, are we trying to hurt these people? Because like, is the mathing? Also, I am so sorry. I have this green in my hair like a witch because I thought I had my green screen issues worked out. So
No.
I will have to work it out with my tech guy stats, but
Well, did you? I actually didn't even notice. You know what? It's quite subtle. But then when you say it, now I notice. But no, and I thought it was for
it's
St. Patrick's Day. So what do I know?
it's giving alphabet. It's just doing its whole own thing. So you know what? We're just gonna let it. It actually, you know what's perfect is your pink mic that which you know is my fave is Glinda, and my green hair can be Alphaba. So we're just basically doing the Wicked reboot.
Boom. You haven't been on the pod in a couple years.
I
For
know.
people that don't, I don't even know. Don't even ask me what's happened in the past 2 years. I don't know. Life goes crazy.
It didn't exist, Sarah. That's why it did not exist.
But you have this amazing show, and you kind of mix politics and pop culture. Is that right? Tell people what Talk to Me Taylor's about.
Sarah, thank you for asking because I never get this question. And I have been at this for years. My show actually just turned 5, but it's evolved. It's had different iterations. It used to be called Cancel Me Baby. Actually, I think that was the name when you came
Mhm.
on. And that's
Right.
sort of the essence of the show is I just say what I think. And it's really refreshing because it's so politically incorrect. I am willing to like call out both sides. And it's really like sexy, provocative, but smart. I mean, my whole motto is boobs out, brain out, right? So it's like being both things. And yeah, and so now it's Talk to Me Taylor, and I get huge thought leaders. I've had, everyone from Dave Portnoy to Matt Taibbi of the Twitter Files and Dr. Robert Malone, who went viral on Joe Rogan, to really just be human and like it's like we're at the bar talking.
Oh my God. I
So,
love the Dave Portnoy interview. You know,
oh
I,
God,
I'm
how
a,
could we
I'm a
forget?
Dave fan. I
I
love my
was
Dave.
I was so insufferable back then. I was just like I was still like somewhat green. I was really excited, and funny enough, it's sort of again the essence of my show. Do you remember when he had that hit piece, the Me Too hit piece? Funny enough,
Yes.
in the light of all the Blake Lively Baldoni stuff, right, by Business Insider. So I had written an op-ed about it, and no one would pick it up. And so I self-published it, and he caught wind of it. And I said, like, what Business Insider is doing is not helping this cause, kind of like the Blake Lively effect. Like, it is not helping.
Yeah.
Dave caught wind of it. I DM'd him. Actually, it was on my birthday a couple years ago. I said, come on my show. And he's like, okay. And I'm one of the only shows that he went on to talk about it.
That was huge, by the way. Did
So
did I can't remember. Did they end up publishing that article? I mean, they were really fishing. They were like reaching out to all these, like, I think anybody he'd ever DM'd. And he was like, I always love Dave's stance. And to me, I'm
yeah,
always like, if the media isn't biased, why do they care? You know, Dave's point is always like, let me record, let you record, like, let's just both record, ask what you want to ask, and publish what's actually said. And they
yeah.
never it's so weird to me. I'd be like, yeah, you can record, like, I don't care. It's so
Yeah, I
strange.
know. And they wouldn't. That's right. He extended the offer to sit down with Business Insider and they wouldn't do it. And it was a whole thing. But yeah, I even had he had referenced it later on his show, but I had publications like The Atlantic turn down my piece and they would say stuff, Sarah, like, this is a great piece, but basically like, we can't run this, Taylor. Like kind of what we were talking about on my show, Sarah, how
But
biased they are because how dare like they couldn't God forbid they did something somewhat favorable for someone like Dave Portnoy, right? It's like, they can't. But I actually feel
because
like
of misogynistic jokes he said 14 years ago, when, by the way, every male media personality did the same thing.
yeah, and I think it was also because he was at the time, and still is, but more so at the time, lumped in with like conservative, right leaning. He had
Oh,
like just
sure.
interviewed
Yeah.
Trump, like, like that whole thing.
Oh,
So it's like, oh
forget it.
God,
Yeah.
no, we can't. But all that to say, I feel like in a lot of ways, like you asked about the show, it's very much like a female Dave Portnoy, or should I say Dave is the male version of me? Like how he'll just be shirtless doing these political rants and like it's human speak. It's not like annoying highbrow. That's Talk to Me Taylor, but with boobs, basically.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so who is your like who are the guests that you find most interesting? Is it the people that you named? Like do you
Yes.
okay.
The people who are the most interesting are the ones who, and I've interviewed every celebrity under the sun because I used to be a red carpet reporter, very successful young one. And the ones who are not media trained, like celebrities, are the best because you can tell, like, when they're robotic and when they're just like
Oh,
spewing out a script, it is
awful.
literally the bane of my existence. No, it's the worst.
Do
So
you miss doing red carpet reporting? I mean, there really aren't red carpet junkets anymore. And I mean, I can tell you, I get pitched sometimes to do like Access Hollywood and stuff. And like they now, I mean, it's crazy. Those days are so gone. And the
I
last time I talked to
know.
them, I think they were like, yeah, so we're paying reporters $700 to do the red carpet, and you have to be there like 8 or 9 hours. And so you think, okay, after taxes, hourly, like, is this, and they own
After
all
taxes.
the footage. You do your own hair, your own makeup,
No.
you do all
Sarah,
your own
at
prep.
the
They
Elton
spend money.
John Oscars party, I covered it every year. They literally, I think I have a YouTube video of this. They would serve us pizza like Miss Trunchable, okay, on the floor of the, we would be there for like 9 hours and they would literally like toss out pizza boxes and we'd be eating crumbs of pizza on the floor of the, I'm not even kidding.
Is seven hundred
It's
dollars for 6 hours? Like, is that good? Would you get paid that much back in the day?
No, my rate was like 300, 300. So this was the
Oh,
thing. It would be per event. So it was like, it was good.
right.
And it was because sometimes, like, for example, and I would cover the most obscure things that your listeners would love. Like it would be like I'm pretty sure like The Situation or Ronnie, like I covered one of their CBD launches. What's his
That'd
name?
be fun.
What's the Jaden Smith? He had a collab with Umami Burger. So at the Grove at Umami, I interviewed him there and I was there for like 10 minutes. So that would be $300. But then if I'm eating crumbs on the floor of Elton John's red carpet and I'm there for 12 hours, that's basically like I could negotiate a rate and a half, but like basically it all evened out in the end.
Yeah,
But do I miss it? I mean, I really feel like I caught the you nailed it. I feel like I caught the last of the heyday.
you
And
did.
I always like was pushing the boundary and getting celebrity. I mean, I interviewed celebrities on a selfie stick on red carpets and I got them to like say and do things they wouldn't normally do. So it started at the end to get really hard because cancel culture was like just starting. So everyone was so scared and it became the no fun club, you know? So I feel like I caught the tail
Yeah.
end of the good days.
Where do you think we are with cancel culture? We seem like we're anti-woke now, right? Or do you think it still
Everybody
subtly
is.
exists?
I think the weird thing is it's a little bit of both. It's this weird thing and this weird phenomenon where obviously there's just been this sweep of the country that is just over it. And sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, guys, I've been saying that my show is called Cancel Me Baby 5 years ago. Like, why is everyone just now talking about this? I'm talking mainstream people like Andrew Schultz, Bill Maher. I'm
Oh
like, where have you
yeah.
guys been? But I kind of feel like sometimes it still oddly happens. And I'm like, how are we still like people are still scared,
Yeah.
you know?
I guess ask the lead actress of Amelia Perez. She's the last person
Exactly.
who's
Carla Sophia,
trans.
blink twice if you can hear. Is
Yeah,
he a
who's
good girl?
trans. And I guess they basically lost
Exactly.
their Oscar run because that movie was actually really good. I haven't seen Honora yet, but I watched Amelia Perez on a flight and I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this. And then I was so into it. I'm like, what a great film. And Selena Gomez was amazing.
Oh my God, Sarah, I hated both of them.
You did?
I
Really? You
hated. I
Amelia?
wanted to love them. No, wait. Funny enough, I watched Amelia Perez on a plane, and I was like, sort of. I asked for whiskey. You know, the little ones on the plane. The woman did me a solid. I think because she saw I was watching that movie, she gave me two. And I actually, I actually skimmed. I skimmed it, and even that was like, I was like, I'll never get that.
I'm
25
back.
minutes.
So funny. I actually, wait, was it Nora horrible?
Oh my God. I wanted to like Honora so much. And I love Mikey Madison. I used to cover Better Things which was like, I don't know if you even, that was like her breakout role with Pamela
No.
Adlon on FX. It was such a good show. And I think she's such a great actress. It just was so self-indulgent and dragged out. I mean, her performance was amazing, but the bulk of the movie, Sarah, you'll see it's like an hour and a half of this chase scene of them going to every location that ever existed in Manhattan. I was like, oh my God, like what is this? Like it just was so unhinged and went way too long.
Oh,
I know.
okay. Well, that does not sound like a glowing door. Now I'm not looking forward to that. But like I said, Amelia Perez, I was like kind of sucked in. I'm like, oh, a drug dealer who wants to be trans? Fascinating. Okay. I was like,
Oh my
this is
God.
good.
People were
Oddly good.
roasting that movie, Sarah. People
Really?
like on TikTok were roasting it. I keep seeing it still to this day, the Zoe Saldana musical scene with the like housekeepers, and everyone's like, this is looks like a bad like high school PowerPoint presentation. Like
Oh my
TikTok
God. I
movie.
really enjoy it was like West Side Story meets trans activism. It was so good. I was like, this, I'm like, great. Okay.
Oh my
Well,
God, that is so funny.
I have horrible taste probably in television and film, which is why I cover a lot of TLC shows. So there you go. Okay, speaking of, like, I love that you lean into controversy, but okay, explain this to us. You are
Yes.
now doing a co-hosting pod trade, I think, or I don't even know if he has a podcast. Every week he comes on
Mhm.
your show, Joe Francis, like
Yes.
legendary, although I think also despised Joe Francis, who's exiled to Mexico. Uh, Girls Gone Wild, which by the way, everyone, of course, also used to have in the 90s and early aughts.
Yes.
How did this even come about that you and Joe Francis are now doing a podcast every week together?
So you guys will be obsessed with this show. It's not even him coming on my show. We actually launched a whole new show and it's called Undressed. And it's sort of a modern battle of the sexes, but it's not like hostile or combative. And I feel like, is the quintessential like populist male, straight male point of view, and I'm the female point of view. But it's unlike any show because it's not, you know how Sarah, it's so oversaturated, like it's either kind of like the armchair expert takes itself really seriously, or it'll be like sex and dating and marriage advice. It's not that. So far, our episodes, this one coming out this week is all about prostitution. We did one where we did 23andMe tests and joked all about how we're like 0.4% African. So where is our DEI? Like, where are my reparations? We've done the whole like controversy right now of women twerking on the job and getting fired. So we're really hitting these taboo topics that people are afraid to talk about out loud, but it is so entertaining. We just have such a great rapport. It is really funny, but it's like super sexy and thoughtful and sexful. I kind of like
I
that.
like that. Yeah, maybe that should be the title. The other
I
name.
know. Maybe that's
That's
some
pretty
like
good.
we all wish
Yeah.
we were sexful on a Tuesday. And you know, the way that and there's so much more to Joe than meets the eye, which I think is so fun about the show. And we don't get into his we'll cross that bridge when we get there, his whole like past. And I think there's a lot people, don't know about him beneath the surface and so much that's gone, awry. And we first met because he's been on my show. He was on Cancel Me Baby twice, and we hit it off. And we talked about like we have to do a show together. And then it just found its way, 2 years later. So yeah,
Wow. Yeah, I was wondering. I feel like I started the new Girls Gone Wild documentary, but I did not get all the way into it because, yeah, I can't remember. So, I guess, how do you feel about like, do you think he's been misrepresented? I mean, I believe he's
you
been
know,
accused of, I don't
yes,
know.
there's all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff, and I've heard Joe's side, and I always say like I'm not an apologist or excusing anything that may have happened. And the truth is, Sarah, I don't really know, and none of us will know, right? It's like what do they always say? The truth is like, two sides, and then God's version, basically, like it's somewhere in between. And I do think, diving into it and hearing Joe talk about it at length, I do think that he has been, villainized in the media. And, I don't, like I said, I don't think everything is exactly as it seems. But all I know is like I know the guy he is, and I said this on one of our first episodes. Like if he was like if I was getting bad vibes or if he was not a good guy, I would never be doing this. And he's been really great to work with. He's super smart and entertaining, and yeah, we're really excited about it. So
Okay, well there's controversy as well. I mean, have you gotten a lot of backlash for that, or so far people are more curious?
I think the latter, if anything, I've had OG viewers of my show who are like so protective of me be like, I love it, but I have mixed feelings about you, being associated with Joe and all this. And, all I can say is again, it's like it's his own respective like thing and past that I am no way am like in apologizing for. It's just one of my projects. And what I love about it too is that it shows me in a totally different way because I hate like being personal or vulnerable on my show. I really do keep it to like politics and commentary and pop culture. And so Undressed like really pushes me to go there and like reveal a side of myself on camera I haven't in like 10 years doing this. So
Okay, well, this is all right. This is a development that we have to follow. And I'm trying to like
yes.
I'm trying to like Google where is Joe Francis now? Like like what Joe
Yeah. What is his pin drop? He is in Mexico right now. And he cracks me up because he'll send me like Kim, because he's tight with the Kardashians and we
Yeah, I
talked about
remember
it in one of
that.
our early eps. I mean, he's like basically responsible for Kim blowing up, which they like acknowledge. And Kim just posted a whole slide for her brother Kardashian's birthday, and a lot of the pictures are at Joe's estate in Mexico. And Joe, he said it's so funny too. He's because sometimes I'll like egg him on. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you're that tight with them, and he'll send me like a video of keeping up with the Kardashians of Kim calling Joe crying like after she got robbed and stuff. I'm like, okay, I stand corrected. Like you are tight with them. So,
Oh my gosh.
mhm.
What pop culture stories? You follow a lot of politics, which we're going to talk a little bit about, but are there any pop culture stories that you're currently following?
Well, definitely the Blake Baldoni.
Are you? Because I was just on your show. We were talking about it.
You
Are
have to give me
you
the
as
lowdown.
invested? I mean, I'm so invested in this because there's just, I think, so many things at stake, much higher to me than Amber
Yeah.
Heard and Johnny Depp, who
Yeah,
were two
agreed.
jilted lovers that hated each other. But this one, I mean, the New York Times' ass is on the line. You know, if they lose for manipulating text messages and really kind of holding out on a story, deliberately not giving Wayfair and Justin Baldoni fair time to respond. I mean, if they lose, I feel like this really will be the end of mainstream media. I think it's that big. I really do. I mean, I think we're
Yeah.
already there, but I just think this will be such a tipping point. And then if she is, if she loses and he really didn't sexually harass her, maybe he creeped her out, but he didn't actually sexually harass her or destroy her career. I also think Me Too is set back. But where are you? I mean,
Yeah.
do you keep it that deep or are you like,
Oh, 100. I
yeah,
think they're both dead. I mean, the New York Times, I'm pretty sure I attended their funeral like 7, 8 years ago. So they've been deceased as far as I'm concerned. And like I said on my show, Sarah, I unfortunately think the damage is done with Me Too. And we saw it percolating with the stories like Dave Portnoy, right? Where we came to find it wasn't non-consensual or against their and it makes us question these women. And Dave even said at the time, like, this does not help these women. This now is like the pinnacle. This is like the straw that broke the camel's back. So
mm.
yeah, I think the damage is done. And I'm also following are you following the Candace Owens, Harvey Weinstein
Okay,
series? It's
so we're
nuts.
okay. No, I'm not. So tell us because I would say like I've followed a little, but I really have not watched. I know she just did a deep dive on Brigitte Macron.
I was obsessed with it too.
Did you
And
watch
I'm
that
not
whole
a
thing? I have.
tinfoil. I watched the whole thing. I made my boyfriend, and my boyfriend, his background is in media politics. He's a Gen Xer. He used to work for the Clinton administration, have his own Fox News show. So he's very much into this. I made him suffer through this, and he was like, "You are insane." And I said to him, this is like one of our biggest stripes. I'm like, if you do not believe this after watching this series, I don't even know what to say to you. And I'm so not conspiratorial. I was flabbergasted,
Wait,
hooked.
okay, so you believe Brigitte Macron is a man. I mean, I kind of believe it too because if
Sarah, you
she
can't not.
wasn't, I know.
You can't not after seeing this. It can't be unseen. It's
If she wasn't,
crazy.
They would really sue Candace, and
That's the
they've
thing.
never sued Candace. They
To,
just
to,
sent a cease and desist, which you could wipe your ass with because cease and desist is nothing. They really don't. They really don't. I mean,
they really
it's a
don't.
threat, it's a power play, but it doesn't mean jack. And if Brigitte was not a man, they would be suing.
The thing is, Sarah, exactly. Like there's so much this and that. And Candace does have a very clever way of being like, I don't know, guys. I'm just, and whether it's, I don't know, like Beatty or not. But when you boil it down, the thing that got me is she will ask them just literally baseline. Like, did she carry a child? Was she a biological this? And they cannot answer those basic questions. They can't show photographic evidence. They can't answer those basic questions. Like, why wouldn't you just be like, yes, here she is pregnant? So that to me was nuts. The Harvey Weinstein thing, guys, will blow your minds. And this is like so dicey to even talk about. And I
Well,
reported
no,
on
talk
Me
about it.
Too.
I find this fascinating, although this is
Oh
where
my
Candace
God.
loses me because I don't believe for 1 second that he isn't who all these women have said he is. But what
That's
do
the
you
thing.
think?
That's where this whole thing gets so, because she goes like so extreme that and she'll say like he's an immoral man, he had infidelity, like I would never endorse this man or never, but I think he's an innocent man. Like she goes so far. And the thing is, it's like he's still convicted of rape, I think, in California, but all of this is so murky. That goes, to say when she airs out similarly with Brigitte Macron, what actually went on in those courtrooms. I mean, Sarah, my mind was blown. And as somebody who, again, I was on the red carpet, I wrote op-eds about it with the black gowns, the whole thing. And time after time on my show, I'd be like, Harvey Weinstein, this monster, serial rapist, this whole thing. To me, and she gets a little, kooky about the will of like Ronan Farrow and Jodi Cantor, like the people who broke these stories and what their motives were.
Ronan
But for
Farrow. Okay,
Ronan
I
Farrow
love
and
me some Ronan Farrow.
Ronan Farrow. And to me, the thing that gets so crazy is you read like the evidence, and these women, there's two so far she's documented. I mean, Sarah, there's basically they were in relationships with Harvey Weinstein, like would like sweet texts, sweet emails over the span of years. And you have all of these rape victims coming out in Candace Owens' chat in the live stream being like, as a rape survivor, they're livid. And they're like, my skin would crawl. Like, I would be in intensive therapy if I even saw someone who looked like my perpetrator, never mind like be in contact with them for however many years on it. I'm talking like trips together, air flights, going to Cannes Film like it's nuts. It's really nuts. Like
Okay,
it does
okay.
make you think.
But this is like two of the women, right? But there's been so many against Harvey Weinstein. I mean, is she going to look at all like
So to my understanding, she isolates these two because these two are the reason, because his case got overturned. And this is speculative, like why. She highlights the two who put him in prison. One was like an obscene amount, like I don't know, however many years, and another was a shorter sentence. But that's why she isolates them, because she's like, these are the ones kind of like, I may be butchering this a little, but basically these are the ones like being overturned, and these are the ones in the accounts who put him in prison for, countless amount of years. So let's look at, what really happened.
and
So
have
it'll
you
be like signed emails like, Harvey, my sweetheart, like I literally yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
oh my God. Okay, I'm not even sure I can
Yes.
wrap my head around it.
Sarah's taking notes. She's like, tune in, stat.
Where,
Sarah, you
by
have
the
to.
way, where does Candace release these? Are these on YouTube?
Her YouTube has blown up exponentially, really, because of and don't get me wrong, I talk about not being an apologist. I am not a Candace Owens apologist. Like her views on Israel, I could not be further apart from her on that. But yes, YouTube, and it's blown up a lot because of the Blake Lively Baldoni stuff, because she's like hardcore team Baldoni.
I mean,
So
I would have to really dive into the Harvey Weinstein. I mean, I would just have to
you
really,
have to.
I just feel like there's no way he's that innocent. I mean, I don't know how many women ended up coming forward. I think 14, 50. I mean, it was like
It
Bill
was a
Cosby.
lot.
It was like
It was
a
a lot.
lot. So, I mean, did every single woman suffer the same amount of abuse? No, but I mean, I don't know. With him, it's like I think his own brother turned on him. I feel like that guy is such a fucking horrible person. And
Yeah,
I mean, even Gwyneth Paltrow
no
told a
doubt.
story on Howard Stern, basically that Brad Pitt went to bat for her against him because he was trying to get her to come visit him at hotel rooms and all this stuff. And basically, Brad Pitt went to him and it was like, if you
Yeah.
ever fucking do anything to her, I will make sure you don't work. And of course, at the time, Brad Pitt was like Legends of the Fall. I mean, huge,
Yeah.
really used his star power to, let Harvey know, like, so I don't know. I mean, to me, they're so credible. It's like, you know, Brad Pitt clearly knew he was a predator. They all knew he was a predator, I don't know.
It
That
makes
one's
you
tough.
it definitely makes you think. And especially when you see again, I don't know. I mean, you're exactly right. It's situational and case by case. And I have no doubt in my mind that he's, like I said, a monster and, you know, a pig, but an
I
evil,
mean,
arguably.
right. Is he guilty of rape? Like that's the thing
That's the
you have to
thing.
figure out. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing.
My
And
God.
so, you can't help but wonder. And she poses this question, but did these women see an opportunity when there was this, like, he was the fall guy of this monumental, massive movement? And did they see an opportunity to hop on it? And, there's so many things that, like, that are just don't add up, or that, like, they conveniently don't recall. But for me, it's like they have emails and texts, like I'm saying, of like, my sweet Harvey, can I see you next time I'm at Sundance? Like, when will you, literally? And it's like, this being your perpetrator, like this being your rapist, what? Like, I don't know. So the whole thing will just literally melt your brain.
Did she
And
address like some of the big stars like Rose McGowan? I mean,
she did. She actually said that I think she heard from Rose McGowan, and I so the big finale of this is she's doing an interview with Harvey from prison. And
and when is that supposed to air? Do we
she
know?
hasn't said yet. And then she also extended the invite because she said, I believe that she basically got Rose McGowan's blessing and about how things behind the scenes, like, how the media, like, and I know stuff too, how they were really effed up about it, like the Hollywood elites. But she extended the invite to Rose for Rose to come on too, so we'll see. But yeah, it's nuts.
Okay, well, if
Those are the
Rose goes
stories.
on, I mean, that will be very fascinating. Wow.
I
Wow.
know.
I know she'll take on some interesting stories, but she is one of those personalities that's tough because she does, she says she doesn't go into conspiracies, but I feel like her whole thing is like conspiratorial.
That's what my boyfriend said. Like, exactly.
She
So,
knows exactly what she's doing, right? And she's
oh, totally.
latched on to the
Totally.
Blake Lively thing and Justin Baldoni to attract a whole new audience. And,
100%. That's why my
there's-
boyfriend sniffed it out as someone who's been in media for so long. He's like, it just feels like she's just a really good marketer and self-promoter. But
yeah.
speaking of the last pop culture story I'm semi following, I don't know about you, Sarah, is I'm so sick of talking about self-promoting of this Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco promo trail right now for their new album. I'm like, if I see these two making out on my feed one more time, I swear to God, I will find my nearest bridge to jump off. Like, can
You're
we be
over
done?
it. You're over it.
Oh my
Do you believe
God.
that they're a sincere couple? A lot of people have a lot of feelings about that. What do you think?
Oh,
Oh God, everything
sincere as in
from
a PR stunt, or
yes,
sincere?
PR stunt. She's his beard. I mean, I'm like, guy is gay. I really don't. I mean, I'm like, I don't think so. I think that I don't know. I mean, I know what you mean, and I sort of zone them out. He's an incredibly talented music
Oh
producer,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
I know what you mean.
I would say this, Sarah, in the most diplomatic way. It's giving Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like
Um,
somehow these guys get the hot girl. Like maybe it's their maybe Benny Blanco's a really funny guy. I don't take Jay-Z as being this like comedian in the room, but maybe he has something else going on. Either way, that's the effect. That's how I've been stumped and puzzled. Like these guys are pulling these tens. They are making their lucky star. So I think actually Benny Blanco recently did a thing like self-aware, like owning that. Like hot girls get like funny guys get hot girls or something. So he knows.
I know he really seems to own it much more. He really does. Like he leans into, I think, how lucky he is and how he knows that. And I feel like Selena was so burned by Justin Bieber and everything. I think she's willing to try just like an average to below average looking man. I mean, I think she's just like, you know what, I'm there.
She's like, actually, I tried the other.
I've
So I'm
I've
gonna try to switch up my approach.
I've been with a chiseled, jawline. I don't need that again.
What do you think?
Well, like I said, I just don't. I actually, first of all, he's from Virginia. He's actually from like the Fairfax area. And, I worked in like Virginia and lived there for years in DC. So I have a soft spot in my heart for any DMV person. So talented. I
Oh,
love that about him.
I
And,
know that.
you
I have
know,
family in Fairfax.
he's written Maroon Five's like moves like Jagger. I mean, he's just such a great
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
producer. So I can see how I think you can be very attracted to talent. And I think he's probably very smart. I think he's very smart.
Can I just say the elephant in the room? And this is funny enough, Joe and I tackled this on Undressed. Our first episode was Valentine's episode, all about actually over the top like engagement rings and diamonds and weddings, and how at the end of the day, like when it comes to rings, I don't know if you know this, they're like in diamonds specifically, they're like worth nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. Yes, I
Nothing.
do
We
know
did
that.
a
Like
whole show,
it's
like a whole
actually
expose.
no,
Yes.
diamonds, their resale value is peanuts. Like
No.
the only diamonds that are actually worth anything is maybe if you have a Harry Winston, like a Van Cleef. I mean, it would have to be so high end.
They won't even trade you like the pizza on the floor at Elton John's red carpet. I swear to God, it's like worth nothing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's the Selena Gomez, Benny Blanco thing. I think this all the time. Like, I feel like the more you show off and in your face and over the top you are, be it with like your wedding, your ring, like what do you have to prove? What are you hiding? And it's like, why are you trying to prove it so hard to us? I
Mm.
don't know. I don't buy it. And that could be like, Abigail down the street, like blowing us up with her wedding picture. That could be Selena Gomez. I'm just saying, it's like, why are you trying so hard to make us believe you? Like, we get it.
You're really
I'm
pushing.
just
Oh, speaking of trying to make us believe them, what do you make of Meghan Markle? I mean, this is like poor Meghan Markle. This girl can't get a break. Did you see the former? This guy is such a huge deal. The former editor-in-chief, Graydon Carter of Vanity Fair, which, by the way, I got to reach out to him. He's written a book. I'm like, I got to get you on. He was like the heyday of Vanity Fair when I like loved reading it. The guy's like amazing at media. Never will happen again because nobody listens or reads Vanity Fair. But he tells a story now in the book that basically they put her on the cover because she was engaged to Prince Harry. And when she came in to reporters, she actually said,
no.
like, this is according to Carter. I mean, this is like a huge guy.
Oh my
She says,
God.
quote, excuse me to the reporter. Is this going to be all about Prince Harry? Because I thought we were going to be talking about my charities and my philanthropy. Bitch, yes, it's going to be all about Prince Harry. He says, this woman, this is like a quote from him. This woman is slightly adrift on the facts and reality, Carter added. Oh my God. The feature was notably headlined Meghan Markle wild about Harry. Harry 40 and Markle started dating, of course, in 2016. They got engaged in 2017, the same year as the Vanity Fair interview that ultimately tied the knot a year later. So anyhow, yeah, she actually believed that the Vanity Fair cover was for her philanthropy.
In Friends, when it's like it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. This has been Meghan Markle, but like for 10 years. Like, it's
Oh,
a no good, very bad, rotten decade for Meghan Markle. I
It's
think
so
my
cringe. And also Bill Simmons. I mean, Bill Simmons, as you know, is such a legit, he started the Ringer podcast company, but also, I mean, he developed 30 for 30 for ESPN. I mean, rarely talks crap about other media people. And I mean, he came out and called them grifters when they left Spotify. I mean, for Bill Simmons to say that, I was like, oof.
You know what my favorite part of this entire story was? Is when this man is so savage, is when they pitched this to him, this cover story. He was like, I don't know who this is. And they're
I
like,
know.
it's Meg Markle. And he still was like, I don't know who that is. It's like Mariah Carey. I don't know her. Like, that is what is so funny. Look, Sarah, I think the thing, and I know it's like, actually, until you said poor Meghan Markle, I actually have never felt sympathy for this woman until you literally just said that because she actually has been the culture. Like the way you said it, I kind of was like, yeah, actually, she has been the cultural punching bag. But the thing is,
Oh,
she's just so deeply unlikable and fake. And it just seeps into everything that she does. Whether it's her phony Martha Stewart knockoff Netflix series, whether it's her Oprah, seaside Malibu escape mansion interview, like she just seems so fake. And we are in a time right now that everybody sees right through it. We just want authentic and real. Even like Trump, love him or hate him, I truly believe part of the reason that he just swept the country is because he fine-tuned his act for sure, but he was still him and he doesn't give an F. Like he's so authentically him and
that's
he
true.
does not care. And I think that people, it's just speaking to them right now because we're so sick of being lied to, everything polished, fake. And Meghan Markle is that. It's like the Kamala Harris. It's like, what don't you get? It just is so fake. Like, what don't you get? And everything just seems so disingenuous. Like, why can't she just be human? It's like, why is she a robot?
What did you watch that documentary? I haven't watched it yet on Netflix. With Love Megan, the
God.
and it's getting a season two, which by the way, I think people don't understand this. You know this in media. Now they negotiate a season one and season two. None of these shows would get a season two, but that just is part of the negotiation. So it's like when they go, oh, season two, it's like that was in the works. Yeah, that's part
This
of the
just said
contract.
I haven't, but I saw two things I needed to see. One was her in this like perfect white cashmere outfit, basically being like, we're just gonna get messy in the kitchen. Like, bitch, in what world are you gonna catch me like over my dead body? And am I gonna be making spaghetti in a white cashmere outfit? Like, so fake. And then tell me, Sarah, you saw the Mindy Kaling clip when Mindy Kaling calls
Oh,
her
that
Megan,
was
and she's like,
insufferable.
so bad,
That
and
was
so
so
it
bad.
hurt. Part of my soul left my body. I was like, this is so passive aggressive. Mindy Kaling calls her Megan. And she's like, oh, it's so funny. You don't call me Duchess. Like, I'm a Duchess now. I was like,
I know. It was
hurts to be that lacking that much self-awareness.
I
Like,
know. Mindy calls her Meghan Markle and she says, I'm Sussex
oh,
now.
Sussex. I'm sorry, not
And
Duchess. Yeah, Sussex. That's right.
you're
That's right.
like, oh, this nobody cares. No, those clips were bad. I really have to watch it. I'm kind of sucked in now to the Karen Reed documentary. I don't know if you're following that, but
No.
anyway, Karen Reed, allegedly ran over and murdered her boyfriend who was a Boston cop. It's very fascinating. So I'm sucked into that. But I need to come back to the Meghan Markle because it's just a fascinating I don't know. It's such a bizarre brand, I guess. And what their mission is, I'm not sure.
That's exactly it.
I can't figure it out. I think the hardest part with that show from the get-go that I was not very interested in is when she rented a mansion and filmed everything there. And I'm like, okay, well then that's not, and a lot of people said, well, the Kardashians did that and all that. Chris, for security reasons, wouldn't film the outside of the mansion. So that was stock photos. Like they basically paid somebody in California to use their house as like the exterior because Chris didn't want people to know physically where they lived. So then inside was their actual home. And to me, I'm just like, the problem is you're doing a brand that's about your gardens and your recipes. And
So
to not
bad.
be, I mean, Martha Stewart, that's how she built her brand. It was her home. She was that anal retentive about her own properties. I mean, it's that right there to me is just such a departure of what I think, to your point, where we're at. I think people would rather have you like be cooking, making pasta from your trailer and like getting a whole view of your trailer than they do a fake home.
It's just, I don't even think anyone wants to see her cooking. It's like, leave it to Ina Garden and leave us
Oh.
alone. Like, what? Like,
And
you're
Ina's house is Ina's house. People really go there.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my God, exactly.
Strange.
And I love how you said that. You're like, I don't know if this brand is branding. Like, what is the identity crisis of this brand?
But what, I mean,
It's
I
so
just can't
true.
figure out what they are. I mean, the Invictus games were genius. He started those, and I'm like, they should just lean fully into that. I mean, everybody wants to support our vets from every country, you know.
Mhm.
I don't even, I guess they once in a while still do that. I don't know. I think she gave up too easily on the royal family. I mean, I just don't believe the naivety that she thought she
Yeah,
was going to go there
exactly.
and change them. I mean, you're just talking like a dynasty of, you're just not. I mean, look at the women that have tried. It's like, Kate Middleton was like bred for that, you know? So you either got to go there and be Kate Middleton's understudy or you don't go there at all. But I guess I don't know. He's obviously wants to be out, so
Understudy.
who knows?
Yeah.
Right? I would have been like, Kate, show me the way, girl. Like, I ain't got no clue. Like,
No,
I'll stand
no.
behind you, bitch, and you show me the ways because that's just like that's a whole brand, you know?
She needs to just like bow out, go under the radar. Hell, get into acting again for all I care. I don't care. I don't want to see you cooking in white cashmere. Like the brand isn't branding. It has nothing to do with anything. You are the most she's so unrelatable. Yeah, it's just not it. And I don't know, it's like no matter what the setting, it translates. Like no matter what the setting, even if it's like after the LA wildfires, if it's in Oprah's garden, trying to be vulnerable in an interview, like none of it works. None of it works. I don't even know if she could learn from Trump, like being best friends with the Burger King cashiers. Like I don't, or construction worker. Like it just, I don't know. It doesn't work. So
Oh
I
my
don't know,
God, I
Sarah. We'll
know. When
see.
he drove that trash truck and then came out and
Right.
wanted to know if the
I forgot about that.
bright orange vest made him look skinnier, I was like, that's kind of relatable, actually. I I think that as well. I'm like, does this make me look thinner? I mean, it just like he does somehow strike a chord. Last
Mhm.
story. Are you a big Bravo person? Do you keep up with any of the housewives?
Funny enough, just Beverly Hills, just because living in LA for 5 years, like I
Oh,
love to see and like meeting all of them. Many times I love to see like their whereabouts and what they're doing and all this, but I have to say I am up to speed on big news, but I haven't watched in I'll say this, I stopped watching right before Kyle and Mauricio split.
oh, did you know that, by the way, as a Hollywood
I
person?
have to say, I've heard whisperings of him, being a little sneaky deaky, but I actually was like, felt so naive and innocent. I thought they were actually
Me
so,
too.
oh my God, because they would
That one
always
was
talk about
heartbreaking.
it
Yeah.
really was how they've been together for so long and they'd show the photos when they were babies and when they met. And I thought it was the real deal. So I was definitely surprised.
Are you sad to see Garcelle announce this week that she is leaving the show? Her twins are going to be seniors in high school. She wants to spend time with them. She has all these production projects in the works. It's been 5 years. It's not goodbye. It's see you later. What did you think of that?
I thought it was a good call. I like that people are recognizing it's like a reboot no one asked for. Like too many times now we're seeing people overstay their welcome. And I feel like she kind of left on like a stride on a high note. And I love Garcelle. I've interviewed her and she's like what you see is what you get. Like she's one of the most like the sweetest down to earth people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love how she kept the door open and she wasn't hostile. Like I felt like Lisa Rinna was like a little bitter. And I don't know how I felt about that. Like the show made her who she was. Like I know she's writing the coattails of her soap opera days, but like the show made her who she was. And I feel like, I don't know, I feel like she was such an OG. And I just felt like the way she did it, Garcelle was like super graceful, you know?
I do too. I liked Garcelle a lot. I think it had run its course. I think
Yeah.
Garcelle has so many other things going on. I don't think she wanted to get in the mud. I don't think she wanted to reveal things about her real, we haven't seen for now a couple of seasons. There's really been no dates. There's no guys. There's no real drama with the ex. Like we got into a little bit of the drama with the boys and how they felt she was a little bit of an absent mom, but she doesn't want to I think really go there anymore. Like what we've seen with Dorit and Erica and Kyle. I mean, they've really been dragged through the mud. So I thought it was a good time to exit as well because I don't think there was much more we were going to get. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I had my mixed feelings because after meeting Garcelle and seeing like how great she was and her energy and all of that, I was such a proponent of her coming on. And then at the beginning, and again, who knows how much this was produced or on purpose to ruffle feathers, but like really going hard and playing up like the black woman card. Like, do you remember when she and Kyle had lunch and Kyle was like, you didn't pay at the auction or whatever? And Garcelle was
Yes.
like, are you saying that because I'm black? And Kyle was like, I would say that to anybody. That kind of stuff in the beginning, I was like, come on. But then I was thinking, again, who knows how much of this is to get, a ride on social media and stuff. So that all of that, I was kind of like, and it was like Crystal at the same time. So you had like Crystal, the first Asian, Beverly Hills, and then Garcelle. So all that, I was a little sus of like how much
Crystal
of
was
this is
so
like trying. Yeah.
stupid and held this like race thing over Sutton and then come to find out
Yes.
Sutton never said
Yes.
anything racist. And so it was like, and really that was such a horrible, yeah, I mean, they really made a mockery to some degree. Well, Crystal did anyway, of race issues. That was such a poor thing to do.
Totally. I love to see though how Dorit, I feel like she was like the fragile little butterfly when she first came on, and now she
Yes.
is like boss bitch. Like I love to see her arc and how much she's grown into it and
She'll
how
hold her
like
own.
savage she is now. Exactly. Yeah.
Taylor, so awesome to catch up with you. Tell people like the days they can listen to you and Joe and talk to me, Taylor,
Yes.
TTMT. All right, tell us, baby.
Yes. Yes. So Talk to Me Taylor is the OG. It is actually because of these exciting new shows. I used to do 2 episodes a week. Now it's one every Friday, but it's perfect. We can like, commiserate together and unpack the chaos of the whole week. So every Friday, Talk to Me Taylor episodes will come out either solo or with a guest. Undressed with Joe Francis on YouTube is out every single week. And then I also just launched a brand new, you will love this, Sarah, and your listeners. It's a new late night political
So much going
talk
on.
show.
Yes.
It is called Politically Uncensored. Okay. It is hosted by David Pollock, who's a huge political analyst, commentator, myself. So, your resident blonde and a puppet. And the three of us, like literally, late night is shaking. So it's Tuesday and Thursday nights live. We stream on YouTube, Twitter, and it's at 10 p.m. Eastern. Like we're drinking whiskey. We've had like George Santos on, big guests, and it is such a riot. Like it is so much fun.
George Santos. What's that whack job doing?
Oh my God, George Santos. He is just out there, doing his thing on the move. I actually may be
Oh my
appearing
God.
on his show shortly. So that is TBD.
Oh, sorry, George. Sorry, didn't mean to call you.
Oh, she puts her glasses.
Your
Sorry,
friend.
George.
George, sorry. We just say things here. Sorry, George.
Honestly, he would like knowing him, he would take no offense. He'd be like, yeah, probably. He'd be like accurate, valid.
Appreciate that. Okay, well, that's
But
good.
yes,
All right.
yes.
Oh my God, Taylor, love you. Come back. Great hot tea. We'll talk soon.
Anytime. I love you, Sarah. Thank you
Bye,
so much.
gorgeous. See ya.
Bye.